Are you living with purpose, passion, and making a difference in your life's journey? Well, you've come to the right place. The X Factors to Success podcast radio show.
Great day to you all, and welcome to the X Factors to Success podcast radio show. I am your host, Ruggero Fratarcang, also known as the G-Man. Easier said than done. Ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder for all of you listening today, the X Factors to Success have 5 key pillars. I'm always reminding you all. First is faith. Second is family and friends. Third is fitness. Next one is finance, and don't forget fun. The 5 key pillars. And all of the time up to now, our guests are talking about one or many or all of the X Factors to Success. So today's guest is another special one. I met this gentleman here a few years back at a seminar event, and he's just a fantastic human being. So without further ado, we have Mr. Enrico Caravaggio. He's from Toronto, Canada. He started his first legitimate business at the age of 12 and has never looked back. In fact, Eric prides himself on being an entrepreneur and has only ever worked for himself. With a career that spans over 30 years, the driving force behind everything he does is summed up in one word: entrepreneurship. That's his key word there. At the age of 19, Eric embarked on what has become a lifelong mission to leave an indelible mark on the real estate industry. With sales exceeding over $250 million in residential, commercial, and development land deals, he has defined his career purpose as such: create deals that leave all parties achieving their personal and financial goals through the real estate model. With a passion for life and people, 5 years ago, Eric began a new journey of self-discovery and awareness. It was then that he met Bob Proctor, which we'll talk about, and his life changed forever. Bob got him to realize one simple and profound truth: life does not happen to you, it happens for you. And you order it up by virtue of your thought. Understanding the relationship to one's thinking relative to their results is critical to success and happiness. However, that can only happen when you know how the mind works. Eric's motto is simple: when you have something good, all you want to do is to share it with the world. It's such a great way to live. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome my guest and your guest today on the X Factors to Success. Welcome, Eric Caravaggio. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Ruggero. I'm excited, super excited.
Well, I'm so super excited for having you on my show and taking time of your busy schedule there, Mr. Eric Caravaggio from Toronto, Canada. What's going on?
Anything for the G-Man.
Thank you.
Anything for the G-Man.
Hey, long time.
You make the world a better place, buddy.
We all do. We all play a part of this this vortex, Eric, and we share our experiences and give it back to the world, Eric. So thank you very much for taking time again. How's the family doing? All well?
Yeah, they're great. They're really good. Their kids are growing. Everyone's good. I can't believe how fast they're growing, though.
Sure. And of course, you're in Toronto. Any more snow as of May?
Spring has finally sprung in Toronto, Canada.
It's about time. I'm thinking about still having your boulders of snow at the corners of the streets and whatnot. So all the white stuff is going away, huh?
I got to tell you, in my short 43 years of existence, this was a crazy winter.
Well, same here in New York also, Eric, so we're very fortunate to have a crazy winter. It's okay. We'll accept it.
It's okay. You got it.
So, Eric, I know that you're an entrepreneur. A lot of things going on. You and I met some years back at the Bob Proctor event somewhere.
Science of Getting Rich, 2014, I believe.
Wow. That was on West Coast. I think it was in Arizona somewhere.
Arizona. I remember the day I met you.
Yeah, we connected together, and we're just keeping in contact, and haven't heard from you in a long, long time. I reached out to you a few weeks ago. I said, Eric, what do you think of being on the show? So, Eric, we're going to have a nice casual conversation. The guests out there always like to hear who's on the show, and they'll tune in, and they'll listen to it while they're driving their vehicle, while they're jogging, walking the dog, or whatever, on the beach. And I always bring exciting people like yourself. and you're a very motivated individual. You're taking action. Many things have happened to you in the last 5 years or so, and so I'm going to ask you the first question: what motivates Eric Caravaggio?
Well, that's a great question. I'd have to say, at this point in my life, I think the real motivating factor for me, I probably wouldn't have said this even as early as 2 years ago, but I'd say the motivating factor for me right now is really furthering my relationship with God, the way I defined God.
Okay.
And, when I embarked on this journey of self-awareness and studying and metaphysics and what have you, I never understood really the spiritual undertone that I was about to embark on. And now I'm at a point in my life where I truly realize that I co-create everything. But prior to that, one of the things I really pride myself on is being a family man. I have wonderful friends and wonderful family. And, being a father is something that I always wanted to be. And I love being a dad. And I would say, on a daily basis, outside of my relationship to, a higher power and a higher being, I would say being a guiding force for my children, and not telling them what to do, but showing them every day, that I go out there and live my life and make my mistakes, take my hits and get back up and move on. And I just want to be the example of what for them that, in life, you got to go out and get it.
I love it.
Yeah.
And, Eric, you just hit two major pillars on the X factors to success: faith, your belief system, and your self-talk and how you present yourself with principles and values. And the second one, you just hit right nail on: family. Two major things in the foundation of the X factors to success. So one of the key ingredients.
Ruggero, I heard it said many years ago, and it always stuck with me. One of the only irrevocable decisions in life that you're ever going to make is to be a parent. You can change a lot of things. You can change everything in your life for that matter. But once you're a parent, that's something that all of a sudden now takes on a whole new meaning. And you're always there as, like I said, a guiding force for the people around you. And so it's irrevocable. It's a life thing.
I totally understand. I mean, I have four of my own.
Mm-hmm.
I got four of my own, and each one are individuals. They're unique, and they're special. Like any parent, their children are very, very special. But they become also the average of the parents also, because the home environment becomes their positive outlook in life. If you're negative in the home, they kind of gravitate to that, and they go out to the world being negative. So I know you're a good parent, because you're always talking about them going to events and going to sporting events, Eric. So that's motivating you. I love it.
Yeah, you can never be too scared to make a mistake in front of your kids, because that shows them that, life is about learning from making mistakes and learning from them.
Right.
Can't shelter them from that. They have to learn to be decision makers.
And speaking about mistakes and failures, and I always ask this question to all my guests, because we always want to find out that, sometimes we say, failures and mistakes are always negative for us. What are your thoughts on or what have you learned in your mistakes or failures?
Oh, wow.
Or if you call them failures,
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, let's just leave it at mistakes, because I think failure is a tricky word, because I think when you say I failed at something, I think you really only fail when you give up. So, if you're not prepared to give up, then you really don't fail. You're making a ton of mistakes maybe along the way, but so long as you are, I don't think anybody's really willing to say, hey, yeah, all right, I made a mistake. This is exciting.
Yeah.
But the reality is this. I mean, when you get kicked around enough and you make some mistakes, you start to open your eyes and you say, maybe I'm not going to do it that way. And what can I have done differently? See, the feedback model, you try and always have a feedback. There's always tons of problems. But if you just pick one thing, something didn't go well, and what's the one thing that if I could have gone back and changed, what's the one thing, and pick that and really focus on the positives, because perspective is everything in life, right? You can, there's good and bad in everything. And if you get really zeroed in on too many of the negatives,
right,
you kind of miss the point. So mistakes, sometimes if they're big enough, they can be really exhilarating in the sense that, how do I say, they are the key moments in life, because every sort of failure or mistake brings with it an equal or equivalent seed of benefit.
The yin
you just got to
the yin and the yang, right? It's part of the universal laws.
You got to be looking for it, and when you train yourself to know that mistakes are actually are good in the sense that they're learning opportunities.
Agreed.
That's where your course correction comes. I mean, a rocket fails its way to the moon. A plane doesn't, a plane gets off course, on course, off course, on course. The key is, where's the plane going? Where's the rocket going? The key to life is knowing where you're going.
Well, that's a very good point, because as we set this tone right now, and I love where this is going now, Eric. You know why? The plane knows where it's going, right? So if you're leaving from point A to point B, it always corrects itself, right? Their internal GPS. So would you say that goals are that GPS when you identify those goals? And then as you move forward to that, sometimes you get off course, on course. So what are some of your breakthrough goals that you could share with the audience that have you brought outside and put you back in again to realign yourself to that position of success?
That's a great question. One of the startling facts that I had learned a few years back was that most people don't have a goal. But even the ones that do, sometimes there's this big misnomer that we set a goal, I want to make $1 million, I want to make $10 million, I want a car, I want a house. Uh-huh. And so we have this preconceived notion that a goal is really to get something. When in reality, if you really look beyond the getting, the goal is really designed, the purpose of a goal is to get you to grow. See, because if you know how to get something, if you've made $100,000 and you want to make 125, you kind of already know how to do it. You just kind of increase your inputs a little bit,
sure,
and what have you.
Yep.
But if you're going really after something that you have no clue how to do, you see, that's a real goal, because you want it, you can see yourself with it, but you have no idea how you're going to get it. That to me is a goal, because what's happening is in the process, you become somebody different. Because the person that's standing there at the beginning saying, I want to achieve this, doesn't have necessarily the awareness, has all the tools,
right,
but doesn't have awareness of how to get it. But it's in the growing process that you end up getting it. So when we look at goals, I think goals should always are key in anybody's life, but it's the right type of goal. It's a goal that kind of really scares you. It's the one that really makes you feel uncomfortable, because that's the one that's going to really allow you to grow.
You bring up a good point. Point where I just did a workshop just recently at a local library with some of the community members in place, and we touched base on SMART goals, SMART.
See, there's two things I believe in my sort of studies and in my growth as a businessman and as a person. The two things that are most important are, A, you kind of want to know where you're going, and B, you want to know what's getting in the way.
So, Eric, the how. Tell us more about the how and the law of attraction, how that intermingles with your with this process of yours.
Okay, so like I was saying, I mean, you really want to know where you're going, and you kind of want to know what's getting in the way. And when you've determined those two, the how things are going to happen start to just show up. And as students of the law of attraction, the how just shows up. And if you're open to these quote unquote mistakes that we say we try and avoid,
right?
But it's those little course corrections throughout the day, throughout the weeks that show up and say, oh, wait a minute, that's my life, the way I'm ordering it. The how just shows up. But the most important thing is you kind of want, and you have to be open to those experiences, open to being uncomfortable and open to pushing yourself. And, you know, when you're crystal clear on where you're headed, so how do I say, you just kind of get into a flow, if that makes any sense. And you know, I like to say it's sort of like feeling your way through life, and it's an intuition thing, and it takes practice, but anybody can do it. It takes practice, and the more you try and the more mistakes you make with it, the more you realize, okay, yeah, that's fine. You know, I'm not going to do it this time. And, you know, and really at the end of the day, your intuition's bang on 100% of the time. And we've got these intellectual factors that are just so overwhelmingly amazing.
The challenge is, Eric, that many people don't stop, think, be self-aware, be mindful, and because there's so much crap that's going on in life. I mean, the law of attraction says, ask, believe, and receive. And when people watch that movie, The Secret, with, of course, we both know Bob Proctor, right? They say, well, that's BS stuff. That's BS stuff. So how would you just maybe elaborate a little bit more on this ask, believe, and receive? Because when they saw the movie, they said, well, I'm going to ask for a car in front of my house, and it won't happen. I mean, you got to take action, right? You got to have self-awareness. You got to take action, inspired action, and put those goals together, correct?
Oh, you're 100% correct, but I think it goes beyond that, Ruggero. Okay. I really do believe it goes beyond that. I think, see, if you're asking for something, and you're saying, I want the car, I want the $1 million, and you kind of say, yeah, I could see myself with it, it's still really a wish. Because if you want something and you really don't believe you can attain it, like if you say, I want $1 million, but the following thought that comes after the $1 million, or I want the $1 million, is, yeah, but that's not going to happen for me. Chances are it's not going to happen. So that's why it's so key to, and you don't necessarily have to believe it's going to happen at the beginning.
Right.
But faith, you hit the nail on the head, baby. Like faith is so key, because faith is something that you develop over time, and you do it through affirmation. You do it through positive things that after a while, like, hey, anybody knows, you tell yourself a lie enough times, you start to believe.
You believe it.
You believe it. And that's really the way it's set up. So, you know, you can ask for anything, but if you can't get yourself to that point where you actually believe it's going to happen, it's not going to happen. But with the belief comes action. Yeah. And anything worth having in life is worth going for.
I love it.
Anything worth having
is worth going for. I love it. You know, Eric.
Yeah, otherwise it's not worth having.
You're right. I just we're listening to an audiobook by Dr. Wayne Dyer. This is I guess it's a conference that he did, and it's a recording. It's called "Applying the 10 Secrets of Success and Inner Peace." And there's a section in there I just recently heard today about silence. Being in silence. By being in silence, you're able to listen to yourself. Because our inner talk, our inner soul is such an enlightenment that once you start listening, you start hearing who you are, what your purpose is. And I think that's a great lesson for me. I learned also the meditation. And again, people say, well, meditation, come on. Really? Really, Ruggero, meditation? I told one today, he goes, stop it right there. Well, I said, well, don't you take a walk in a park or just be yourself? Because people are afraid to be with themselves. And I think what's important here, and you bring it at the point, is that we need to stop, listen, reflect, and take a moment to see around us. Because life goes by real fast. It's going super fast that we follow other people's programs. And what you've been doing yourself, you've changed your whole trajectory to achieve what you have achieved up to now. That being said, can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, of course. You know, to your point about meditation and being quiet. You see, if you don't stop and look where you are, you're never going to get to where you got to go, because life happens to you, and either you're going to control it or it's going to control you. And you can't fight all the time. It's push-pull. It's no way to live. When you're in a flow and you're on your purpose, the only way to do that is to be still and quiet, because you're never going to get the messages. You're never going to get it unless you're quiet enough to listen. Our problem is we just don't listen. And you know, your intuition and your higher self is saying, "Hi, hello, listen to me, listen to me." And you're saying, "No, well, hold on, I got to get to another meeting, and the kids are screaming, but you don't understand, and meanwhile, we have these marvelous tools, and you know, the hardest thing in life is quieting down, but it's a learned skill, and when you do, you get to feel your way through life, because in the end, if something doesn't feel good, you know it's not right. But when things are feeling good, you know the difference between feeling good and feeling bad. And most people, you know, what happens is if you don't stop every once in a while and just say, "Hey, wait a minute," you know, before I leave the house every morning, there's a couple things that I do every single morning.
So you have a ritual. You have a certain ritual.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Let's hear it.
Absolutely. I mean, first thing is, you know, I always do a gratitude exercise, some form of a gratitude exercise. You see, gratitude is a switch. It literally is a switch. I mean, if you're ever feeling bad, because we feel bad all the time, every day, and you know, you just stop and either take out a piece of paper and a pen, or just write down or think about the things you're truly grateful for. And it could be a cup of coffee. It could be the fact that you woke up. It could be the fact that, you know, somebody said they loved you. Or it could be something that you're looking to manifest in your life. You see, gratitude, it could also be something that you're going for, and you see yourself with it, and you know, instantaneously, if you do it right, you really allow yourself to feel how happy you are. It shifts your vibration. It really does shift your vibration. So I really do not leave the house unless I've done some form of a gratitude exercise. And more importantly, because I know I'm going to get bombarded, and I'm going to bombard, and life gets crazy, I do some form of a mindfulness practice where I ask myself every day.
Okay.
I ask my higher self, say, "Hey, you know what? Guide me today. Push me in the right direction. Show me." But I can't do that if I'm going 1,000,000 miles a minute. I need to be still. Like God saying, or higher source, or whoever it is that you believe in is saying,
universe,
"Hey,
nirvana," right?
Whatever it is for you, man. Whatever it is. But if you're not quiet enough, you're not gonna be able to hear it. So anybody that says, "I don't meditate," that, you know, okay, that's fine, but
you know, Eric, you look at all the religious rituals, silence, meditation, they're all in there. I mean, they're all, again, in silence, and there to listen to the inner self, to the inner voice that we all have within. You look at all the super successful entrepreneurs out there, all right? And they multitask. They all have the same hours of the day, 24 hours in a day, 168 hours in a week.
I mean, the one thing that I learned from Bob specifically, now I had the good fortune of studying, you know, with him, and you know, one of the questions you had me look at, talk about, you know, habits. What are the greatest habits? And I think things that, you know, I learned from Bob is to study every single day. Every single day. And it's not, and I mean, look, I've been doing this for 5-6 years now. Right. And there have been times, Ruggero, where I have read the same page for 6 months. The same page. People say, "You're still reading that book." Well, right now I'm presently studying The Power of Awareness from Neville Goddard. I've been reading that book for 3 years.
Okay, so hold on. Say it again. What's the name of the book? Go ahead. What?
The Power of Awareness from Neville Goddard.
Okay, I'm going to put that in the show notes also.
So here's the thing. So you read the same book or you read the same page, you read the same chapter. The words don't change. You know what changes, Ruggero?
What changes?
You change. You change because you get a deeper and deeper and deeper meaning. And that's what's so critical about all of this stuff. I don't care who it is. Jack Canfield, Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, whoever, Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, all great, great mentors and leaders. And they'll all tell you the same thing. It's not their material. It's not their material. They just giving you their interpretation of the material that's already out there. And it's all based on one thing. We're all connected.
Right.
We create.
Totally agree.
And we're all better off helping each other.
Be of service for each other.
And that's it. Because, baby, what you put out, you get back. And that's it. What you put out, you get back. And when you get happy putting out, it comes back. If you're putting out just to get back, well, guess what? You ain't going to get it. But if you put out because it makes you happy to put out, it's going to come back. And they're all telling you the same thing because all the spiritual books, they all say the same thing. But getting back to Bob, the one thing is read every single day, studies, get a mindfulness practice, and that to me single-handedly was probably one of the most important habits that I ever learned. I have a book with me at all times, audio books, whatever it is, and we can all do, and we all do it. And but it's so important.
Eric, I know that you and I share a book that I know that you have many. I'm sure you have more than one copy around your home. What's the one book that the Bob Proctor out there has influenced his life and is teaching over 50 plus years? So share with the audience. I don't want to say it, but you say it. What's the book?
Yeah, you know what? It's a great book. I would put it in my top
and
3 to 5.
What's it called?
It's Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Right.
I've devoured that book. I've gone through it. But I have to say for me anyhow, because I never, when I started studying like everybody else. I want more money. I'm sick and tired of the ups and downs in life. I want money. And then I never expected to find what I found. And that was a relationship with God. And so for me now, I like the spiritual books. I'll dive into something like the Bhagavad Gita. I don't understand it. It's all Russian to me, but right. I'll try it out. I'll try it out. I was reading Thomas Troward for about a year and a half. I mean, that was tough. But, the more I read, the more my mind opened and the more I understood. And so I love those books, like Neville Goddard for me. And Neville Goddard, I don't know if many people know this, but I mean, a lot of people know Wayne Dyer.
Right.
And Wayne Dyer he was so profound, such a great, his book, Wishes Fulfilled, was probably one of the first books I ever read.
Erroneous Books, his first book back in 1976. Again, I'm listening to his work right now. I'm getting re-inspired again. I saw him a couple of times in New York.
Yeah, your erroneous zones. Yeah. So Neville Goddard really, really influenced a lot of Wayne Dyer's work.
How about Viktor Frankl? I mean, he's an author, a man who experienced in the 1940s in the concentration camps, right?
Man's Search for Meaning. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a great, great book. I've gone through that book 3 times on audio tape.
It's heavy. It's heavy.
It's heavy. Like, that's a heavy one, but a good one nonetheless. But like I said, it doesn't matter what it is you're reading. Pick something that pushes you, that challenges you. But you should always, always, always be studying, because it's kind of like we were talking about in the morning. There's certain things you do in the morning to set yourself up,
set the tone, right?
Yeah, and reading something like Think and Grow Rich, or The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, or U Squared. It doesn't matter what it is you're reading, but so long as you're reading, it makes such a profound difference, because it sets the tone. You're sending a message to yourself. You're sending a message to the universe. You're sending a message saying, hey, I'm coming. I'm coming, and I'm coming to not get, I'm coming to give.
And you're showing up really, really strong out there. And you set that tone. You go to your place of business. You're meeting people. When you start smiling out there, be like, what's up with you, right? And again, it sets the tone the whole day. So I want to switch gears a little bit here, Eric, if you don't mind, because we're in a topic here, because I hear this from a lot of people. You're lucky. Eric, you're lucky where you are. $250 million of sales and residential, commercial. You're lucky. Do you think people are just lucky in their success?
I think you got to be open to receiving, and you have to be really, really clear on what it is you want in order to be lucky. Because sometimes, look, let's just face it.
Right.
You know, on the surface, it looks like, wow, you're lucky. It was just a stroke of good luck. You met the right person at the right time. The guy got on the elevator, whatever it is, shook hands, and then, you made a $50 million deal or whatever it was. Or even finding love, for that matter, so serendipitous.
Relationships.
And, you have somebody who's saying, I want to find love. But what nobody ever talks about, Ruggero, is the fact that, what about all those failed dates? What about all those failed deals? What about all those things you went through to get yourself, to prepare yourself for that opportunity?
Well, that's the on course, off course that you mentioned before, right? I mean, that's the things, that trials and tribulations that you get to.
That's right. Like, I think that, there's an element of luck, but you order the luck. You order it. And there's opportunity everywhere. It's just, the problem is are we open to it, and do we see it? But you make your own luck. You make your own luck. And that's the one thing that I have made a tremendous amount of mistakes in my life, and I continue to make mistakes. And
I love it.
And look, there's the easiest thing to do in life is to make yourself vulnerable, because when you're vulnerable, you're uncomfortable. But when you're uncomfortable and you're authentic, but what I mean by vulnerable is really make yourself authentic to yourself. Forget about anybody else. If you really lived your life like you didn't care what anybody thought, and you went after what it is that you wanted, you're making yourself vulnerable out there, because you're going to be open for criticism. People are going to criticize. You better believe people are going to criticize.
Agreed.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. But it's when you are willing to take those steps in your life that all of a sudden those quote unquote lucky serendipitous things start to happen. But you're ordering them.
I love
you're
it.
You're ordering them by virtue of what you think.
Yeah, you're creating it. So that
Absolutely.
You create, so that you
There's
attract.
no accidents in the universe, baby.
Yeah.
There just aren't.
I love it, Eric. You're on fire, buddy. I love it. Great to have you on the show. I tell you, man, this has been a long time since we touched base. Eric, who would you say your top 3 role models are? And we all have role models, and in your journey right now, and you have some role models. You want to share with us? I'm sure you have more than 1, 2, or 3. Share a couple with us, if you don't mind.
Role models. That's a good question. I would have to say, because of the work that I did with Bob Proctor and the Proctor Gallagher Institute, I'd have to say that, Bob's teaching Bob, maybe not Bob himself, because it's not like we're buddies or anything where I can say, he's a role model. I don't know him that personally. I would say he's had him and his organization and his people, and I've also worked in the organization, so I would say the people, the community itself, and the people that I've met. But Bob being the elder statesman or the pillar of that company, I would say has been a role model.
Super.
I would say that's a good question, Ruggero, because as I mature as a father and as an overall person, growing up, I never thought that my own father was a role. My dad's a great guy. My dad's an awesome man, but growing up, I never would have thought that he was your typical role model.
I agree.
And now I look at, I mean, this bugger, you want to talk about, I mean, I'll go through a wall for something, and now I know where I get it. And I get it from my dad. You know, so I'd have to say, yeah, he's a role model in my life.
Don't forget, I know myself also as well. My dad passed away 5 years now. And now I look forward. I look forward and I do things and I reflect. You know what? Because of your papa. Because of your dad.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. You know, this guy, like the immigrant story, which is so beautiful about being an American or a Canadian. Like, it's just that immigrant story. It's just such, everybody's got those stories, and no one is better or worse, but they're just beautiful stories. They're so special because it embodies what we're talking about here, going after something. So, you know, better life, whatever it is. And so, you know, with dad, you know, my dad being hearing impaired and, you know, just sort of came here and worked and doesn't speak the language and managed to, you know, bring his family up. Yeah, to me, that's
success. That is success, yeah. Eric. You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, Bob, I would say yes. Dad, for sure. And I would say the third person as a role model would be.
Got you on this one, huh?
Yeah, no, I would. You know, I don't know how to really define it because this is really a new chapter in my life.
Okay.
You know, I could say it's Jesus Christ. I could say it's a higher being.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna just say it's God, and you know, in my relationship to God, you know, and that those are the three big ones in my life right now.
Eric, I love it. I love it. I've been reconnecting a lot myself too. To our higher power, to God, and I'm being vulnerable about it, and I talk to everyone about it. You know what? It's a spiritual balance, and I think that the X factor to success is faith, and whatever faith you bring in place will direct you. That's the foundation. That's the key pillar, and you're on it. Beautiful.
You know, G, I want to make this distinction. There's a huge distinction between religion and spirituality.
Yep.
I'm not here to preach to nobody.
Right.
Like, I am so not here to preach to anybody.
Same here.
But
Same here.
There's a huge distinction between religion and faith. You know, religion is someone's interpretation, and I'm not here to say it's good or bad or whatever. But when it comes to spirituality and faith, if you think you're alone here, it's, you know, it ain't, you know, you're really on the wrong path, because that's the ego talking. And, you know, we live for our egos, and our egos there to kind of protect us and keep us safe. And that's what gets us into problems. When in reality, if you can just come at it from love, and love is God.
Sure. I love it. Eric, you
and
know,
I'm a business guy, you know what I mean? I do $200 million deals, and, you know, it's funny, talk about the indelible mark I want to leave in the industry. It's that, you know, I come from a field where it's like eat or be eaten. Or the perceived notion is, you know, eat or be eaten.
Big
you guys
fish,
have a perfect,
big fish, small fish, right? Big shark.
Yeah, you have a perfect example in New York. You know, you have Donald Trump, who was like the epitome of the real estate developer. You know, kill or be killed. And when in reality, man, that's, you know, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it at all. I think, you know, when you can be authentic and know that there's enough for all, and you don't, the only person, you know, competition is such a scary thing. You know, when you're competing against somebody, you've lost before you started. The only person you should really be competing with is yourself, and trying to make yourself better.
I love it. Eric, you know, we're all proud of something today, and I'm going to ask you this question. What are you most proud of lately in life?
What I'm most proud of, about 2 years ago, I set out and I chased a big dream, one that I never thought, A, I was worthy of, B, I was capable of doing, and I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of just talking about it. And, having been in real estate, my parents owned a janitorial service when I was a kid. So I started my own little side businesses from when I was 12.
Yeah, young age there.
And I drove, I finished high school. I knew school was never for me. And I literally finished high school, and I drove to the real estate college, got my license, and I started selling real estate right away. And when I got my license, at the time, I never really knew why I was in real estate. And as the years progressed, it unfolded. And I always had this dream that one day I was going to be a real estate developer and a builder. But I never thought it was possible for me. I wanted it. It's kind of like what we were talking about before. You say you want something, but the next thought that comes after I want it is, yeah, but I can't do it. It's never going to happen. So it never happens.
It's the negative self-talk inside of us,
that's
right?
Right. I got sick and tired of, being sick and tired. And I just stepped out. And, I did it. I started my dream company. And for the longest time, I dreamed about the moments.
I love it.
And I went to work, and it was amazing. And then guess what? About 3 months ago, things happened.
Another shift.
Another shift, yeah. Call it a major course correction. Things aren't so rosy. And I hit a major roadblock. And the thing I'm most proud of, Ruggero, is this. I stepped out. I did it. Maybe it didn't go as well as I thought it was going to go. I'm a lot clearer on where I need to be. But more importantly, I was able to take a maybe quote unquote failure in my life and turn it into a course correction where it didn't really hurt my self-image. It didn't hurt my, I failed, I'm just going to go run in a corner and I'll go back to where it's safe. I'm having maybe eat a little bit of humble pie right now, but it's okay because all I'm doing is I'm positioning myself for my next move. And that's the thing I'm most proud of, is the fact that not only did I step out, but I ain't given up in the face of, quote unquote, call it failure, because it's really not
failure. Right. Wow. That's great. Well, and you have a strong personality to have come across this milestone, this new shift, to take it to another course. And,
that's right.
And this is all because of your belief system. You're more in tune in yourself, your inner talk, and the clarity of purpose. One of the key principles of the success principles that I also teach in the Jack Canfield's principles is have a clear purpose in the direction that you're going to. What's the passion? What is your purpose to guide you there? Once you start feeling that, and of course, it's okay. I mean, I like this podcast. This show here just came out of nothing. I mean, I've been talking about it, and now I have a series of guests like yourself, Eric, and I've been so enthusiastic and thrilled to have people listen to stories like yourself. And my audience, over 1,000 downloads so far, and from worldwide. It's amazing. I look at the statistics, and like people are listening from Africa, Australia, UK, France, Spain. I mean, wow, I'm making a difference, and this is where I need to be. And who knows in the future what we'll be. So like yourself, I couldn't associate with you. And I think we need to support each other, find like-minded individuals. And one of the things that Jim Rohn says, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Again, find like-minded individuals and surround yourself. If you have negative individuals around you, you're going to kind of gravitate into their negativity. But you've got to spend less time with them and find more time with someone else. And in your shift point right now, I can just tell it's getting great. It's getting awesome there, Eric. I look forward to it.
Because I know like, you see, the thing, G, is this. I may not have the physical, the tangible result of what it is that I'm looking to create. But it doesn't matter because you have to create it in your mind first. And I know I have it because I feel it and I live it. I'm the living embodiment of it. So if that I don't have the physical realization of it now, it's coming. And it'll never come unless I believe it. And I have to live from that point. So you talk about what you're proud of, getting back to that question. Yeah. If I were to, say, well, it didn't work for me and this sucks and whatever.
Right.
Well, guess what's coming? More sucks and more whatever. But if I say, okay, in my mind, I'm still a developer. I'm still leaving an indelible mark on my industry. And what I'm going through is important for some reason. And I don't have to know it right now, but I'm still living and acting from the place that I have already succeeded. Now, that's the key. And if I did that every day, man, it's great. I'm not here to sit here and tell your people that I'm perfect, but I know the difference between saying, hey, if I'm living my purpose and I'm living from that place, it's a very simple course correction. And then you feel it and you just go.
Beautiful. Love it. Eric, I know that time is of the essence here. And I'll leave you with a couple more questions before we say farewell here. This has been a great interview, great conversation here. We're going deep here. Lots of valuable content. And I hope you folks out there on the X Factors to Success, your listeners out there, you're picking up some good tips by our friend here, Eric Caravaggio from Toronto, Canada, the Entrepreneurial Man of the Year. So, Eric, great stuff here. I love the experience. I love your trials and tribulations and the direction. If you were conducting this interview, what one question would you ask yourself? And this is a question that's been asked to me years ago, and I like to ask it to my guests. So I don't want to give you a loaded question, but it is a loaded question. If you were conducting this interview, what one question would you ask yourself?
I would have to say, the question I would ask is, what's the deal?
What's the deal? Okay.
What's the deal, Eric? Just give it to me straight. What's the deal?
I like that.
And so do I get to answer my own question?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm writing it down. What's the deal?
What's the deal? What's the deal? Like, you know what? I'm a deal maker, right? Gee, I've been putting deals together since I was a kid, and that's all I do. So, what's the deal? That's the question I would ask myself. What's the deal? And I'd have to say the deal is figure out what you want, which in and of itself is so difficult for so many of us because, we're so wrapped up in virus code of it's not for me, I can't do it, I'm scared, I'm this, I'm that, I'm so whatever. So, but the deal is this, G. Figure out what you want and spend the rest of your life going after it.
Amen, brother. Amen. Truly straightforward.
And I have a perfect example of that in my life. This is just me. This is Eric. Doesn't matter about anybody else.
Right.
But when I was a young man, I always knew intuitively in my tummy, G, I knew I wanted to be a dad. I knew I wanted to be a dad. And you know what? One of the coolest things I get to be is a dad. So it was kind of like, you know what you want and you spend your life going after it. And that's the deal. That's the deal because life just passes by for all of us.
Just a temporary journey in this physical being. We are a spirit in this physical being right now in this journey. And you sound like very, very proud to be a dad, and that's it shows all of what you're doing and the compassion you have, the empathy and the love, and again, you're more centered than I know when I first met you some years ago. So Eric, you're pretty intense here, buddy. You're pretty intense.
Thanks, man.
I love it. Eric, what legacy or imprint to the world would you leave behind? Let's say it's 100 years from now. You've done all your real estate deals. You fulfill a lot of your dreams. Your family, your health, and kids are out on their own. 100 years from now, they're gonna look you up. Eric Caravaggio. What legacy? What would you leave behind?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to be known for somebody who really changed the landscape of how your traditional real estate deal goes down. Because traditionally, I don't care where you are in the world, it's usually seen as a win-lose kind of thing. I win, you lose. You lose, I win. Now, I mean, win-win is such a cliche and it's such a buzzword. But the reality is that when you're focused, when the intent of the deal is to go in. See, it all starts with intent, G. When the intent of the deal is to go into it, knowing that both people are going to win, then you have your non-traditional outcome. You have something that isn't necessarily true. And you know what that means? It means walking away from a lot of stuff.
Interesting.
And it means dealing with people. And sometimes it means walking away from somebody who's got the mindset of, I win, you lose. And that's not easy in the real estate development.
I hear all the time.
You know, $50, $100 million condo deals, you know, big developments and stuff. But that's what I want to be known for. I don't necessarily, the world doesn't need another big, you know, $3 billion developer. But you know what? If I'm known for one thing, whereas I won't do a deal unless it's the people going into it have the intent that we both win.
I love it.
That's what I want to be known for.
So I'm going to take a flight out to Toronto and spend a week with you, and you could coach me into learn about the deal. How's that sound, Eric?
There you go.
I fly you down to New York, and then we could coach me and get me up to speed with that, because I need some lessons on that. How to make
so long as we're eating pasta, I'm okay.
Oh, si mangia buono, Italiano, right? Those of you out there, Eric Caravaggio, another Italian paisan, and myself, Ruggero, we enjoy food. Last time we were in New York City, I went to see Bob Proctor, right, at the Carnegie Hall.
Carnegie Hall.
Right. We had a nice little dinner after that. So we have to repeat that again soon, very soon, Eric. Huh? What do you think, Eric? What's one book? What's one book would you leave behind?
Okay. So I mentioned the power of awareness. That's what I'm presently really studying. But I'll throw one at you. I mean, I like the way you characterize me, Ruggero, because it's the truth. I get pretty intense on stuff, and that's just who I am, and I've come comfortable with it. So, well, let's not go. Why not just go with a really intense book? It was Bob that put this book in my hands, and I studied it with Bob for a little over a year. It's called The Hidden Power by Thomas Troward.
Hidden Power?
By Thomas Troward.
Okay.
And it's a culmination of essays. Really, the book is really a culmination of essays. So I would start with the starting point and sort of go from there. That's a really, really, when you can, I mean, if you really want to understand the law of attraction, metaphysics, you know, at a deeper level, I've never read anything as profound as Thomas Troward.
Okay.
And if you read it and it's difficult, it's okay. As you continue to read it, the words are not going to change, Ruggero. You're going to change. So don't give up. Because remember, if it's worth having, it ain't going to come easy. And the understanding and the deeper understanding in Thomas Troward's work has really, you know, is profound with all the great teachers that we have in our present day, Bob being one of them. So that's one that I would say, pick up. And the other one, Ruggero, is a very simple book. It's called U Squared. Oh, it's not simple, but it's a small one. U Squared.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. Great recommendation. The one I'm really interested in is The Hidden Power by Thomas Troward.
Thomas Troward.
Troward, yeah.
Troward. Troward.
Beautiful. So hear that, folks? You got to go out there and pick one up at Barnes & Noble or any bookstore out there, or download it somewhere.
Well,
you know,
the text is so so old that there's a ton of material, even just online. Just introduce yourself with Troward.
Okay.
You know.
Beautiful, Eric. We're gonna wrap this up here with some last comments. So, Eric, first of all, I want to thank you very much. You've been a fantastic guest on the show, but more importantly, a friend that we connected a handful of years ago. You're on the show now. You're sharing your story, your journey, your experience, your faith, your family. You covered a lot of points on my X factors to success. So in this show here, I always ask the question to our guests: what last comments or inspiring encouragements before we close and say farewell?
I would say that no matter whether things are going good or bad in your life, good and bad is just a matter of perspective. And never be afraid to ask for a miracle, because a miracle isn't necessarily the Red Sea parting in two. I've come to understand a miracle to just literally be a change in perspective, a shift in perspective.
Okay.
And miracles happen every day, but you have to ask for them. So if something isn't going good, ask for the miracle, and ask to see it whatever that circumstance is. Ask to see it in a different light. Because I said in my intro that one of the things I learned, and I'll take this to the grave. Actually, I'll take it beyond the grave. Life doesn't happen to you. It doesn't. We think it does. But that's the big joke in all of this. Life doesn't happen to you. Right. It happens for you. Yep. Everything that's happening in your life is by design, and you've designed it. And I know that's going to boggle a lot of people. I didn't ask for the bad stuff. And I know, right? Yeah, I know. But the reality is, sometimes the hardest thing to look at in life is to look at yourself and to put everything squarely on your shoulders, because the way what you're seeing and what I'm seeing are two different things. We could be looking at the same thing, right, but we can have different perspectives
because of our experiences and our faith and our beliefs.
That's it.
Yeah. Awesome.
So life doesn't happen to you; it happens for you.
I love it. Yeah, I know. I'm going to put that in the show notes as one of your quotes. That life doesn't happen to you, but it happens for you, by Eric Caravaggio. Eric, how can the audience find you? Where can the audience find you? You have a social media place? Do you have a Facebook website?
Yeah, I think the best place for me to connect with people, if anybody's interested in connecting with me, I love this material. I love to meet new people. I'm just a student of this material like anybody else. So the best place to contact me or to get in touch with me is always Facebook, Eric Caravaggio. I'm in the process of redoing my LinkedIn, but you can always reach out to me at LinkedIn. But Facebook, Instagram, Eric Caravaggio.
Okay, beautiful, awesome.
So, yeah.
You heard that, folks? Shoot him an email, get in contact with him, pick his brain. He's out there. He's there to serve. That's right. He's there to serve. He's making it happen. Again, his experience with self-discovery and awareness is taking him to another recoursing into a new direction. Again, his experience from age 12, being a legitimate business entrepreneur, to who he is right now, a loving father, proud dad, and he just exudes so much energy and passion for life. And we have to really thank him for taking time and sharing his wisdom with us and his content. So, Eric, I can't say enough once again how grateful and how we are grateful having you on the X Factors to Success show. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time spending time together. I hope to have you again on the show in the future. So what are your thoughts about that?
It'd be an honor, man. Thank you. I would love to come back.
And how about this also? I'm working on next year, on calendar year 2019, to put together a leadership conference, and maybe you might be interested to attend, or maybe put you on the podium there on lectern to give maybe a 30-minute keynote. What do you think there, Eric?
30 minutes isn't enough. I won't shut up.
But at least you give some golden nuggets out there to the audience. Yeah, seriously, I am working on a leadership X Factors to Success leadership conference, and
I'll be there.
Putting together a group of great speakers and great influencers out there, and I'd like to have you in mind in the near future. So, Eric. So, without further ado, Eric, I want to bid you a wonderful, wonderful day, week, month, and year of 2018. May your goals and all your successes continue on, and you be enriched in life and family and faith. And wish you to meet you in person again sometime soon. So
Thank you.
So once again, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the X Factors to Success podcast radio show, where we bring those exciting guests for you. And once again, today we had Eric Caravaggio from Toronto, Canada, giving us some insight and wisdom and great content for you to take home and ponder. Listen, ponder, and maybe take action. Revives your goals, revive your affirmations, meditate, be grateful. He mentioned about being grateful. That's right. You know, gratitude. In the morning, just get up and think and put things into your mind, positive, and go off your day and achieve your purpose, achieve your dreams and passions. So, as I always say, the G-Man here, check us out at www.xfactorstosuccess.com, on Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And don't forget to rate, review, and share. Share this podcast. Shoot me an email. Come on. You know what? If you want to be on the show, shoot me an email, and I'd love to have you on the show, and we could talk about what's going on in your life and what are your X factors to success. Without further ado, live with purpose, passion, and make a difference. Ciao.